You have made it to the final module of your first Restaurant Elite course. I hope you're thinking about your life just slightly different now, less of a fixed mindset and more of a growth mindset. I hope you have a brighter vision of your future than you did before. I hope that you are realizing that you are in complete control over your beliefs and behaviors. I hope that you see how joy and fulfillment are literally just choices that you have to make. And I hope that you feel like you now have the tools to make those good choices day in and day out. Now, there is one piece of the puzzle still missing though, and this piece is the most important one of all, because without this knowledge that I'm about to give you, the knowledge you've gained up to this point won't be as effective. Without this final piece of the puzzle, your new skills will be like a dull saw. You will make progress, but not nearly as quickly as if you had a sharp saw. This module that you're watching right now will sharpen your saw and make the techniques you've learned in the first 3 modules 10 times more effective. So what is the final piece of the puzzle? Let's dive in. Now let's get real here for a second and ground ourselves in this 3-dimensional reality. The only thing that will earn you more money and success in this life, especially in the restaurant and hospitality industry, is skills. Hard skills that you can perform to make your employer or your own business more money. That is how you make more money and level up your career. You perform skills that make your customers happier and your employer or your own business more money. Skills, 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 skills. Advancing your career, earning more money, and elevating yours or your employer's business is a skills game. This first course was meant to give you skills that you will need in order to successfully complete the rest of the courses that will follow this one. So what type of skill did this course mean to teach you? One skill, the skill of self-regulation. Now, what does it mean to self-regulate? It means when you have a tough day, you don't just survive it, you thrive and perform at a high level. It means when someone makes you mad or you're having a bad day, you still perform at a high level. It means when you're confronted with a bunch of things that you don't know how to do and nobody is there to help you, you figure it out and you still perform at a high level. Now, self-regulation is the skill of being resilient. It could also be called grit, just being tough, or perseverance. All those words are the same skill at the end of the day, the skill of self-regulation. Self-regulation as a skill doesn't only mean that you won't quit after a tough day. Like most skills, it is the foundation for a lot of behaviors. Like the skill of counting allows you to add, subtract, multiply, make lots of different calculations. The skill of self-regulation supports you and your ability to maintain a positive attitude in heated moments. It allows you to stick to the plan when outside circumstances make it difficult. It allows you to be charismatic and empathetic when you don't feel like it. It allows you to work harder for longer hours when necessary. Self-regulation is the key characteristic that high performers have that everyone else doesn't. And as my community, the Restaurant Elite Community, clearly says, it is for top performers in restaurants. To be a top performer, you have to self-regulate. There's no 2 ways about it. Now, let's say that you aren't that great at self-regulation. Maybe you get angry quickly, or tough days make you want to quit, or you're very quick to reach for chemical substances like drugs and alcohol to do the regulating for you, which is a recipe for burnout and crash landings over time that will cripple you. How can you develop the skill of self-regulation? Well, that's what we've been doing. You have been radically honest with yourself and you've come up with a vision for how you want to feel and what you want to remember on your deathbed. You created a BS filter by getting crystal clear on your personal life values. You block out everything that doesn't support you in fulfilling your values, and you throw away your limiting beliefs and replace them with new ones that actually support your goals. Those 3 steps are the first 3 modules in this course. But if you are still struggling to feel like you are on a good path towards developing the skill of self-regulation, then this next insight may help you finally understand how you can adjust and transform your mind in such a way that you will become better at self-regulation just by thinking differently. Now, the insight is this: every single thing that you do, every thought that you think, opinion that you hold, belief that you subscribe to, action that you take, reaction that you have, interaction that you participate in, all of it is a direct result of your brain's pain and pleasure system. Put more simply, all of your behaviors are attempting to put you in a state of homeostasis. Your biology is perfectly aligned with what your mind, both conscious and subconscious, believes to be necessary to put you in a state of homeostasis. Homeostasis in biological terms is a state of perfect balance and harmony. Homeostasis for humans is complicated, but not impossible. Your body and mind are constantly striving to ensure that you are fed, warm, physically safe, socially safe, psychologically safe, healthy, and confident. There are many factors that go into homeostasis, and luckily for us, our subconscious mind and body processes do most of the work for us. But at the end of the day, we still make decisions that impact our body and mind every single moment, every hour, every minute. Every decision impacts our homeostasis. This constant drive towards homeostasis leads us to avoid pain and pursue pleasure. As you know, pain and pleasure is unique to every individual. What I find pleasurable and painful will be different than what you find pleasurable and painful. But there are probably more commonalities than differences with respect to what humans need in order to achieve homeostasis. For example, you and I probably both want to avoid cancer. Yet you might take the risk of smoking even though it increases your risk for cancer, because the pleasure you get from it is worth it in your own personal cost-benefit analysis. Now, some people exercise more than others. Others eat sugary foods while others are vegan or carnivore. We all live very differently, but the constant striving towards homeostasis exists as a default process that every single person's body and mind is working for. The truth of the matter is that we all have choices we can make to achieve homeostasis. There isn't only one path towards achieving it, but there is a surefire way to increase the likelihood that you feel fulfilled on your path to homeostasis, and that is by making a decision to commit fully to your path. You see, all of us know what it feels like to be anxious, to be overwhelmed, to be uncertain, and feel uneasy about our future. That's literally because having doubt about the future means that we aren't certain that we will be safe financially. Health concerns, worries about our relationships and happiness, these are problems that need to be solved in order to achieve homeostasis. Lacking clarity about solving those problems leads to anxiety. And anxiety is how our body and mind tell us that homeostasis is at risk, that there are threats on the horizon that we need to watch out for. That is what anxiety is. That is why feeling overwhelmed feels bad. So how do we become certain about our future? How do we guarantee our safety and success so that we no longer have to be anxious about the future? How do we communicate to our mind and body that we have achieved homeostasis now and into the future? We decide on a future that feels good to us. We decide on certain beliefs that make it impossible for us to feel anything other than certain about our ability to thrive no matter what. This doesn't mean that we feel perfect all the time and we just step into la la land where everything comes easy for us. It means that when we have tough days, hard moments, or genuine uncertainty, when it comes to certain outcomes, we know exactly how we are going to act, how to react, how to interact, because we've decided on our path and we've decided on the behaviors that we have committed to in order to get us there. These decisions that we've committed to are linked to our values, which we've already recognized as those personal behaviors that will optimize our ability to feel good, aka our ability to feel psychologically safe and more certain about an inherent uncertain future. Now, what's the difference between choices and decisions? Why must we decide on our values and behaviors as opposed to choose them? Because choices imply options, many paths to potentially choose from. This isn't a bad thing to have options, and in fact, knowing we have options may help us feel more safe. If you're stuck in a dungeon and there are 5 possible paths to safety, it would feel better knowing that 4 of those paths lead to safety, rather than only one path leading to safety, right? But you still have to choose only one path to go down, regardless of how many options you have at the end of the day. You still have to decide which options you will forego and which choices to ultimately make. The risk of having multiple choices and refusing to decide on one of them is that you might start walking down one path and get doubts halfway to your destination. If you haven't decided on the path that you're walking on, the other paths will remain choices, and you may start walking backwards to try out one of those other options that you kept available to you. Even if the path that you were walking led to success, the first sign of doubt you see could cause you to turn around and second guess the path that you were on. This means you didn't truly decide to walk your path. You kept the other choices as a plan B, delaying your ultimate arrival at your destination and prolonging the time that it took you to reach it. A decision means you've cut out all other choices and you are committed to your one singular choice, for better or for worse. And you've accepted the consequences and you believe it to be the path that you are supposed to be on. In this way, all decisions are a choice, but not all choices are decisions. A decision is the ultimate choice, and virtually all overwhelm and anxiety stem from your inability to make a decision, because it is the possibilities and what ifs that torment you, not the reality of the moment. The reality of the moment is easy because it's real, it's right in front of you. It's something that you can deal with because you've dealt with a million moments before and you are surviving, living proof of all that you have overcome. It is only the uncertainty of a future that you don't know exists and decisions that you haven't made that cause you anxiety and ultimately pain. But the key is this: it's simply to decide on what you want to feel when you are laying on your deathbed and reverse engineer your life from there. That will get you started on identifying the behaviors that you need to perform in order to get there. Then based on that vision, identify the values that you need to feel good and perform those behaviors that will fulfill those values every single day. Adopt beliefs that can overcome any challenge and decide on that path. Look, you can make a new decision if you have to adjust to something along the way, but that's different than keeping choices available because you're afraid to commit to the life that you've envisioned for yourself. A decision cuts all of the choices, and high performers behave as if every decision is their most important because that is what gives you the energy and inspiration necessary to perform at a high level for a long time. And that brings us to this moment here right now. For you to be a truly elite performer in this industry, you've got to decide to become the kind of person that performs in an elite manner. If you are crystal clear on the life that you want to create and crystal clear on the behaviors necessary to get you there, you will join an elite class of hospitality and restaurant professionals who make more than enough money, who have all the time that they could want, who have beautiful relationships with loved ones and more fulfillment than the average human on this planet. It's a formula with 4 key factors that must overlap to feel truly successful, because just having money is not enough. Having time with no money, relationships, or fulfillment is not going to be enough. Having relationships with no time, no money, no fulfillment is going to leave you feeling empty and drained. You need a balanced life with all 4 factors: money, time, relationships, and fulfillment to truly be considered a success, and that is what the skill of self-regulation will empower you to do. To craft a vision with all 4 components and to make a decision that you will behave like the type of person you need to become in order to have what you ultimately want. Master your pleasure and pain system and decide to go for it. That's how you achieve homeostasis. Cut off the other choices that you have and walk down the path that you were meant to be on. If you can do that consistently, day after day for multiple years, then I promise you, you will be on your road to a fulfilling, abundant, beautiful life.